Welcome to today's continuation of Fire Emblem Engage. In the previous chapter, we finished Chapter 17, that mini-boss extravaganza, and unlocked 2 additional paralogs, one for Sigurd from Fire Emblem 4 Genealogy of the Holy War, and one for Leif from Fire Emblem 5 Thracia 776. So probably the 2 least known characters in the West, given that they originated from games for the Super Nintendo that only came out in Japan. Regardless, we are familiar with them from the early part of this game, Engage, which we started about a month ago now. We've been a month into streaming this game intermittently, and I think we're kind of winding down towards the final act, but the end is not really yet in sight. And so we'll see how much longer it takes, because we have been slowing down recently to about 1 map per stream. Sometimes those do take us somewhere on the order of 3 or 4 hours, depending on how complicated the situations can get, and we have been making them pretty complicated. Now, not much to say about our setup and any changes we've made to it since the last stream. We do, of course, have to plug in Leif's ring somewhere, and I've temporarily put him on Alchrist because we would mostly get some armor penetration of him. Obviously, adaptable is not going to be too useful for him in terms of weapon type, but perhaps in terms of weapon range, if he gets attacked, that could be a possibility. Alchrist probably shouldn't be in the line of fire in the first place, though, and I don't know if we will keep Leif on him necessarily, or shuffle him off to somewhere else. Sigurd's ring we have not yet applied, because while we paired him very well with Louis in the early part of the game up to Chapter 10, and they were actually absolutely fantastic, just wrecked map after map together, we will be facing Sigurd first, and so we will not have access to his abilities on our end of the map just yet. Anyway, let's dive in and let's see. Nothing really to talk about with the inventory either. I've moved some weapons around. Might try Hurricane Axe on Chloe rather than on Anna, because the thing is, because it always hits second, we do want somebody a little more defensively capable than Anna, who's an absolute glass cannon with a defense rating way down at number 8. She really can't take a hit at all, so not much else to talk about for the time being, though. We didn't really do much with the party in the time that we spent offline. So let's get right into it. And chances are we'll need to reconfigure some things once we get into the map and see what it looks like, because Sigurd's ability was probably the hardest one to play against in the mini-boss run in Chapter 17, simply because of his incredible movement range.
Unnatural about this place.
You feel it as well? I've no explanation for it. Yet this place bears a great resemblance to Chalfie.
Chalfie? I've never heard of it.
Correct. It is my homeland. I had once thought to lead a quiet life there in Chalfie, alongside my wife, Deirdre.
What happened?
Deirdre was kidnapped by followers of a dark faith. She was to aid in the resurrection of a dark god.
What? That's awful.
Yet there was still light.
How so?
I believe I shall share that part of the tale with you following the trial. Take up your weapon, for I am the trial that you shall face. Overcome this trial, and our bond will grow.
And we have to fight in this place that is like your homeland.
Correct. Now earn it.
I'll take you down, Sigurd.
Alright, let's see what it's going to look like. So yeah, Sigurd has this incredible movement range, and because when you fight against the emblems themselves, those abilities, I think, generally tend to be permanently active. We will have to deal with him running around all over the place, probably. Let's take a look at what we are dealing with. First of all, unit selection. We have 12 units. It means we are probably in for a long sit, given that the 12-unit maps do take significantly longer than some of the ones with smaller parties, just because of the way that each turn scales up in complexity. Like I've been saying throughout this campaign, I feel like we have been in a bit of a rut when it comes to focusing almost too hard on a very top-heavy main team at the expense of some of the minor party members that we have not been able to level. But there just hasn't really been a good opportunity to do so, since I haven't really been running very many of the optional skirmishes on the side. So we will probably still stick with a reasonably strong team in this battle, given that even the mainline content in Chapter 17 was giving me a bit of a challenge from here to there, depending on how much of a hole I dug myself into. In terms of what we are facing, that is going to be a pretty sizable map. It's kind of split into two halves. I assume that, yeah, it's flyers only, but the bridge is impassable while it's raised, and open water is open to flyers, so it is possible for flyers to get across early without lowering the bridge, but you wouldn't want them to fight the whole cluster, probably. Unless they had incredible resistance against this, so somebody like Ivy would perhaps be able to draw some fire here, but then you would have to deal with Sigurd and his physical attack, which with a movement range of 13, he's going to get everywhere on this side of the map. Actually, he can reach pretty much the full extent of this entire half of the map, probably. So I think the idea is likely going to be that some kind of event trigger, like, for example, taking out this sage over here, who has the 1 extra life bar, is going to lower the bridge. It's probably some event trigger like that that is perhaps based on a mechanic from Genealogy of the Holy War, although I'm not really sure, since, again, I haven't played that game. And then, so likely we'll lower the bridge, and then we'll have to defend a choke point that is too wide, which we can usually do because we do have two decently strong physical defenders, although Louis, of course, can't really take punishment magically, especially with all these tome adjacency bonuses that are going to come down raining on us. That's a lot of Hellfire. And as usual, we'll perhaps have to focus on the main objective. Oh, Meteor. This is, I think, the first time we've seen this long-range Meteor in Fire Emblem Engage. It was, of course, all over the place in 3 houses on both ends, mine and the opposition's. We have a Meteor over here as well on the Sage that is guarding this location, who has a couple of green stats that have been capped out and will not really be easy to take down, although it looks like his movement is locked, at least for the time being, so he probably just stands on the high avoidance, high heal tile, which is also unbreakable. And we'll just have to get in there, survive the Meteor, and take him out quickly if we can. Sigurd has how many life bars? 3, and he's got the full suite of abilities. Override we need to watch out for, obviously. We don't want to cluster up our units at a choke point too much when we do draw him out. Because, of course, Override was giving me huge problems in the last map. Now, interestingly enough, neither Turfing or Brave Lance will have type effectiveness. Brave Lance, however, with a speed 22, will need to watch out for doubled attacks, so we'll mostly take advantage of the fact that his attack numbers are actually fairly low, I think, and just have high defense defender stand up to him directly. Momentum, of course, if he travels all the way to the extent of his range, he's going to have a plus 13 on his attack, so that will be very rough, especially with the Brave Lance coming in and doing double damage. And yeah, can't freeze him, he can reposition all over the place. Yeah, because it's basically a plus 7 movement on him, so. But the mages don't run as far, so I think the idea will be, if we can draw out Sigurd just by getting within his attack range, we'd basically want to draw him out first and burn him down quickly before the mages even come in. If we have some damage left over to take out the mages, obviously that would be nice. If we can maybe use the Astra ability to drop an arrow on them by 10 space, so that would be what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's absolutely doable from this side of the map, especially if I'm still attaching Lynn and her Astra ability to Chloe on the Wyvern, as I have already been doing. So yeah, Meteor is going to be 7 range, so you get stuff like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll have to mark the Meteors. There's no real substitute for that. There's almost no point in marking Sigurd because we know he can just run everywhere. But we'll mark the Meteors. We'll see about what else we're dealing with here. A lot of mages on this side as well. A couple of archers. Oh, what's this? Look at this. You got 3 life bars on this guy, 4 life bars on this guy. And they're both... Well, this one's capped out at level 20. This is level 18. These are actually significantly stronger than the bosses themselves. No, because Sigurd's a level 30. Okay. But then that's because he's an emblem, and emblems are just naturally capped out like that. What about this guy? This guy, level 10. Still, though, having a capped out level 20 sage here with really high stats across the board, I don't know if this is just supposed to be optional loot or if they do attack in. I think we probably just stay out of their range unless we know we have a plan to attack in. And then the whole point of them being there is for the extra 1,000 gold, which makes me wonder if we can just send in a thief to swipe it. Because thieves do have the ability to pick locks in this game, which is undocumented, which makes me think that perhaps if the thieves still have their old ability to swipe loot as well, it might be something that is in the game but undocumented. But I don't really know. We do have a healer to deal with over here, a 3 range on the Old Thunder, and what is his staff? It's a freeze, okay. Yeah, we will generally have to look over staves. Fracture over here. Yeah, a lot of stuff to deal with. Ranged heal on this guy. Yeah, so we have to check for thunder range, we have to check for staves, we've got a lot to deal with. In terms of the magic attack numbers, they're pretty high. A lot more magic than physical attack by the looks of it, so we'll need to deal with that. Yeah, look at that, 64 attack, 55 attack, really high speed, speed 30. This guy, I think, just straight up kills most of what I have in my party. And we'd have to weaken him significantly or lock him down and to engage him at all. And as you can see from these glowing spots over here, that people have tried and not really succeeded. I wonder if this is a reference to anything that's in the original game, Fire Emblem 4, in fact. Because this seems like it's almost certainly just a reference to perhaps hero units that used to exist in the game, but I don't really know. Other than that, though, just a lot of sages to deal with. We always obscure all these unit designs on the board with having the stat screen up pretty much permanently, so we should look out for that. Speed is pretty rough, generally, kind of mid-range. Yeah, I don't know if we can fight these guys. I mean, they're going to be outside of the main objective, which is to just defeat Sigurd, but I think we might just need to avoid pulling them and just not get within attack range and hope they don't activate. Because I have no idea how to deal with that with the party in its current state. That would be a ton of experience if we can't take them down, of course. But yeah, look at this. They're actually harder than the actual boss, so. Well, let's take a look. Unit selection. I think it's mostly fine as is. I'm kind of considering maybe swapping Ike over to Jean. We didn't make much use of him previously with that, but the idea behind it would be that if we have a huge cluster of magical attackers, then Jean would be able to kind of run in and pull them and use the Ether ability. And take out as many as he can. I don't know about that, though, because the main issue with that, yeah, is that we don't actually have... I mean, there are a lot of mages, but it's not just, pure mages all clustered together. Maybe that would work. 36 attack on this guy, and then Jean, when he's not on his flashing fists, yeah, his defense is not actually that good. It's 21. And of course, if he is on his flashing fist, he takes even more damage than that. So we basically put him in shield, get his HP up to 26-ish. Then he could take a fair amount of punishment. With Ike's ability, he would perhaps defend beyond that. Yeah, maybe we could just run him in. And get him to maybe stand in the woods and avoid a lot of incoming damage. And just try to draw in as much as he can at once. Drop an ether and kind of prepare the next turn by taking out as many units as we can. And so I kind of like that idea. In fact, let's see. I think we'll probably just swap Erica and Ike between Louis and Jean. Because there's too much going on here for Louis to be that effective frontliner. Yeah, because let's take a look here. Yeah, too much magic damage going on for me to really put Louis up front anyhow, I think. At least it's not really high speed. Like, he can kind of take it, but mostly Louis is going to be useful for once we take on Sigurd himself, and so we can try to swap and see how it goes. But then this is already kind of the germ of the strategy that I'll be going for, is that we'll probably get Louis to, help fight against the big physical attackers early on. But then we're going to send Jean way, way up. And just try to maybe use Seedall to double up on him and drop him into the woods somewhere. Attract as many attackers at once as we possibly can. And just drop an ether and just nuke everybody. I kind of like that. So Jean in this position, then you would want Seedall right behind him. Because then once you do a bit of a range check here, Seedall would come in, double him up, and then get him to stand somewhere that will actually attract attention. I don't know if he can actually go far enough. Jean can go up here, Seedall can go up here. Yeah, you'd potentially need to swap Seedall out, but then that's what Louis and Ike are for, if you kind of get them in range of this attacker, but not the other one. I should consider putting Cantor on Seedall, actually. Cantor from Sigurd's ability, because Seedall can basically double up on somebody and then pull back. But the reason I hadn't was because Cantor is pretty expensive in terms of the skill points, and I'm banking a lot of skill points on many characters for now instead of just going for the skills right away. Also, my sound is dead already. Let's fix that up as quickly as we can. And we'll hopefully not run into too many issues. Didn't know how long I'd been looking at that happening, but we'll try to fix it up as often as possible. We've gone a couple of streams without this being an issue, so I don't know why it has come back necessarily. Sound should be on, but let's try to fix things up properly, so give me a moment. Should be back in order, and hopefully that sticks. Okay. Yeah, because I don't want to be babysitting that the whole stream when I am busy talking. Anyway, speaking of talking, we've been doing too much of it. Let's figure out the party configuration, I think. Yeah, we want to keep pretty much the same team without fussing around it too much. If stealing the coins off of those super units in the bottom left works, I might want to swap in Yunaka, but yeah, because we found that Alchrist was not very useful in the last map because he's just a little too weak right now. Very low strength on him. Fogato's a little better off, but Fogato has the Radiant Bow and a decent magic number to back that up, which makes a big difference. Now, we do have a Silver Bow on Alchrist now, though, and with Leaf on him, we have buffed up his build stat, which means he's got okay speed, not really great. So maybe between that and the quad hit that we have on him, we can do something decent. Yeah, because Alchrist is maybe a bit of a weak link right now, which is why I'm considering swapping in Yunaka instead, but I think we'll keep what we have and just run with it. I don't have a lot of choices, just given that I don't have a lot of depth in my party right now relative to what I'm used to in a Fire Emblem game. We've been focusing a little too narrowly, perhaps. Let's do some space swapping and placement then, and see. Yeah, we want Jean-Louis Seedall up front. These spots are pretty much set up the way I want them. Pendreo, we tend to have out the back because of the heals. We have so many mages, though, that I actually might want some of these magic defenders up front. But the physical units are pretty interspersed, though, so that might not be useful. We want Chloe relatively up front because we probably want her to attempt to snipe something right away. She can also fly over the woods, which is useful, but if she's able to get a snipe relatively soon on one of these units using Astra, that would be great. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She wouldn't be able to do it on the first turn, but maybe on the second turn. She'd be able to drop an arrow on this guy and see if we can burn him down quickly enough. Either that, or if there's a unit that's particularly critical, we'll take it out. Likewise, probably makes sense given all the trees up here to have our flyers move up in that position, especially with what we said earlier about Ivy. With her resilience not actually as good as I thought it was. It's only 24. We might be able to do something up here, but not with these attackers in the 30s, I don't think. We really needed somebody a little bit better defended, magically speaking. In terms of magic resistance from the resilience stat, the best one we have here is probably Pendreo with a 33. We've got Citrin with a 30 as well. Yeah, we want Citrin a little further up front just because... yeah, just get the high movement characters in the back, although... well, let's see, what are we dealing with here? A lot of magic attackers. I think maybe we just need a good mix of magic and physical up front. So we kind of go Citrin up here so we can attack into this guy right away. And then our bows tend to have 3 range, so it kind of makes sense for us to keep them a little further up. Anna also has the killer bow, so we want her a little further up, I think. I mean, these spots are equivalent when you think about the diagonal coming in that way, so... yeah, we'll get our 6 movement characters out in the back so they can catch up. And Pendreo in the back because he's got the ranged heal going, even though he is a pretty decent magic attacker in his own right. I think we'll just run with this. We don't want to spend too long on the configuration of the first turn, given that the first turn won't matter too much on this. We already have our central idea, which is to send Jean way up there and drop Ike. Speaking of which, did I actually do the swap? I did not. Let's do it.
Ike! My turn.
And let's not forget that we're doing it this way, because that would be embarrassing.
Erica! I'm honored.
So Louis will get the extra 3 damage reduction from Erica, as well as that armor penetration from Lunar Brace, defensive penetration rather. But we would still need to watch out against all the magic attackers on the way. Also lowers its defense by a few points, but, you know, we'll deal with it. Okay, I think we'll do a quick inventory check and then save and go. Let's take a look here. And yeah, we have Seedall running a couple of extra staves again. I did get a new 5-charge rescue on Citrin just in case. Because rescue is always amazing every time it appears in Fire Emblem, so we do want it there. And yeah, we put Physic on Ivy just to buff up her heals a little bit. I think we're probably okay. Let's play. And yeah, I'm sure the map will tell me right away what the mechanic is for actually lowering the bridge. I'm sure it's defeating the first mini-boss, but I have no idea what's going on with the bottom left, so we'll see.
The trial is thus.
The problem is,
If we're
does Sigurd
going to
actually
reach
come
Sigurd,
out?
we'll need to cross that
I mean, he's got
bridge.
13 movement range. Surely he uses it.
And if we can capture that fortress...
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. In the most literal sense. So, yeah, like I was saying, let's take out the first guy. Let's see what the attack range is on the front line first, so we know what we're dealing with. We want to mark the bow anyway, so our flyers don't get into the trap. Mark the bow. Mark these guys. Yeah, we'll need to simplify the markers a little bit once we get here. Mark the meteor. And Sigurd himself, I don't know if we'll bother. Let's mark the meteor. Sigurd would just assume he can hit everything once the bridges come out, so... Yeah, that's pretty substantial coverage on all these guys, but the idea is that we take this guy out with our backline first. Leave enough space to run Jean and Seedall up here. Probably have Seedall in this location. Swap him out with Louis. Get Louis up here. Make sure we don't have magic attackers hitting him in that position. Magic 34, speed 15. Yeah, we need to be careful. If Jean goes over here instead of here, then Jean can go... How many movement points does he have? 5. I think it's 2 movement to go through trees, right? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he'd go here. We can also give him a shove with Marin, perhaps after he's been reactivated. Oh, except Marin's way back here. I should have thought about that earlier, because Marin could have gone up and shoved him one spot. Or we use Warp to send Jean even further in and just have him attract absolutely everybody in one cluster. Bit risky, but that would be fun. But the problem is we don't want the enemy to be in the woods themselves, because they would be difficult to hit. We probably want Jean up front in... ideally this tile here. So... yeah, or we don't even need to use swap with Louis. We can always use reposition. No, we can't, because reposition Jean now. Yeah, so we might have to swap in with him. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see. But we'll leave these spots here blank so I can actually walk there. And we'll switch Jean over to shielding art before I forget. And we'll engage him, of course. Well, he'll switch to the axe anyway once he's engaged. Okay, what are we doing here? Alcris, silver bow. Is he going to do anything here? Not much. He does 13 with a longbow. Let's
show me the
take a look at Citrin. Hellfire for 32. Okay, that's decent. And then Ivy potentially will get in there as well. Although once again, we need to leave a little bit of space. Yeah, so mages galore. Okay, then let's see here. Let's see if we can get Alchrist to get the kill, because we do need to level him up. With... let's see, none of these guys can hit anything. Maybe we're able to do it, maybe not.
Whatever you ask.
They don't get the avoidance bonus in the air, of course. $40 hit points off of that. Well, let's see, because I think Citrin... we actually want to run some of these characters up as far as possible, right? Because, wait, let's see. Louis on the Great Land, speed 11. On the Javelin, everything here is speed 11. So against this guy, speed 15. We're okay, because he'll hit me once with the 34. So Louis can get into this spot. Which means Jean over here, Seedall over here, Louis over here. Jean can also come in here and punch, but I think we'd rather give some other units a chance first. Okay. So, looks like we'll probably... Yeah, so these 3 spots will leave intact. And we want as many attackers as possible to get up there, then let's go to Trin first. With Thunder. If we can get Ulcris to do the longbow shot, that would be ideal, but... $13 there, speed 18, speed 16. Let's see. Ivy would probably just straight up kill. We might not want that. But we can do some other kind of attack from range. Like with a javelin over here, for instance. Okay, so let's say I go over here. Resilience 15. This is attack 34. That's a bit much. But... And that also kills. Okay, let's not be too aggressive just yet until we know what we're doing. Marin could always push Pendreo, but then she's going to be stuck way back. Yeah, I think Ulcris can't actually get the kill, unfortunately. We do need to hit with somebody else. So let's just try to prioritize getting units into position. And get Ivy in there, perhaps. To just hit immediately.
I will atone.
Alright, so... let's unmark some of these just to simplify our view. We do need to watch the bow, of course. But then the idea now is Jean and Ike over here.
How
See it all
mysterious.
behind. And is Cedal on shielding? Yeah, he is. Then, yeah, he's going to draw in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attackers. That's good. Can he do better? Yes, he can. Maybe. No, this will be good, I think, because he should be one of the only ones who will be attacked. Well, I mean, if Louis is down there, this mage will try to go down and smack him, but we'll live. In fact, resilience 14, speed 20. How much is this going to do? 34. This is going to do 20 damage on Cedal, and I think... no, the problem is that this guy will come in and try to hit with a silver sword. So yeah, we do need to swap Jean, or rather swap Louis into that area.
Your orders, please.
And we could maybe swap Louis to the spear. Let me take a look at this. Spear, speed 11... 41 damage. That'll actually just kill. So yeah, we'll swap to spear. And then we'll go swap. Yeah, he's going to attack in. We'll be fine. Jean and Ike right over here. Avoidance 30. Then we engage.
Emblem.
Then we go Ether with Irvan. Speed 11, actually. Let's watch this because there will be a couple of potential double attacks on him. And Flashing Fist would, in fact, maybe even be a quad attack, but then his defense should be okay. I think, even... Yeah, if he's switching weapons, though, his defense is going to drop down to 24, right? If I'm not mistaken. Let's I think it would. Let's see. Although Ether is just an ability, so maybe he's still holding Shielding Art. I'm not exactly sure, but I think he should be able to live. Because Resilience with the +3 from Irvan is going to be up to 29. Basically, how much damage will he take here? He'd basically take maybe his speed 15. 35 off of this guy for physical attack. Well, I mean, you know, there's a limit to how many physical attackers you can get in here, and he's got avoidance, and he's actually got the buff off of the Ether ability as well, which I think takes him up by, what is it, +5 or +7? +5. Right, because we'll just have it at the standard level here. Yeah, I think we can do it. If I've miscalculated, then I've miscalculated, whatever. It's early on. Go Ether, Irvan with the Resilience +3. It's not going to kill everything around him, but it is going to soften everybody up quickly. And we'll hopefully have everybody attacking in that position. Does Lynn want to take anybody out specifically? Let's see. Well, let's wait for the time being.
I can fight.
Just try to move the whole cluster up. And yeah, we obviously don't want to use Byleth's ability just yet, but Byleth will eventually be able to get minimum 4 other units to move twice, so we can have some kind of big double turn somewhere in our future. And yeah, we need to watch out probably for the freeze, but that's okay. We'll deal with it later.
Anything for you.
Because Marin can probably do a push. We can push Alchris to have him get within range, but I think with a longbow he should be fine, so we'll actually do this just to open up the party a little bit. Let's go shove. Oh, okay, because of the build difference, I guess I can't shove myself. Really? Unit details, build 12, I see. They're both on build 12, I think. Yeah, build 12, and she's in fact completely capped out on build 12, so I guess we are going to just push like this. Bring in Anna.
Alright.
And we'll just move everybody in as quickly as possible. Yeah, I don't know if we'll necessarily be running Vigato into the side next turn, but we'll keep the possibility open. And Chloe probably doesn't need to nuke anybody right away this turn. I do want to save this Astra for the bosses just to see how well it stacks up. Also, yeah, the attack range here tells me that there's some kind of staff that can probably hit me hard. We'll see what that is. Probably the Fracture Staff. Yeah, I think everything in here is the Fracture Staff. Doing 1 to 10. And hopefully it'll just miss. Because if it doesn't... Well, I mean, we can just test out this ability to see how it's doing.
Just like my fairy tales.
She's not within range of anything interesting yet, though, so... but the doubles will probably be extremely useful for fighting the bottom left if we eventually want to do that. So yeah, in fact, the doubles might be the key to this. Which tells me that I should therefore continue to park Chloe over here, just so she's potentially within range of the next big engagement, so to speak. Here, or actually no, she wants to hit Potentially whoever's up top, right? Yeah, no, this is good. We'll get her back in the Killer Lance. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, everybody's going to try to attack in. Yeah, Jean is down to 75%, and he buffs up as well using Ike's ability, so... Wow, the backup attack is doing a lot more than I thought it would. The backup attack is actually a huge issue. He's going to die. How is the backup doing that much? And it has a high hit rate too, look at that. He's potentially in a huge amount of trouble. I didn't realize the backup would be that big a problem, but I never remember to calculate it. So that did not actually go that well, but he's going to take out multiple units by himself, which helps. And he's going to heal it completely, which also helps. Okay, that works. Just barely. That was not smart, but it worked. And we'll probably want to get in here against the Flashing Fist and take this guy out immediately. So, alright, let's push the next line then and see how we do. Take out a healer. Hellfire, 34, speed 15. He's got... Well, if we can take out some of these guys along the way, maybe we're fine. Silver Bow would do it. Silver Bow would guarantee a kill. You'd potentially have to deal with this guy too. 35 physical. He would die to it, but... Yeah, 34 magical, 35 physical. 34 are either the backups. Yes, they are. Never underestimate the backups. We're going to learn that the hard way. Okay, 34 magical, right? That's going to be 16. 35 physical is 19. 16 to 19... If it were not for the backup follow-up ability, then he would live. Because of the backup follow-up ability, we might potentially have problems. So, probably going to use Seedall to get some unit up here to take out this guy. We would need to do that, or we need to lock him down some other way. Because that allows me to go with Fagato up here and hit immediately. And he would mostly just have to deal with having 2 attackers come in. We need to disable them somehow. And we'll think about that, but we'll reserve Fagato for this area down here. Astra, of course, is always an option if we want to use Lyn. So who's... Yeah, we need to save Seedall then for some kind of additional movement that's going to come up here. Let's save Chloe and Lyn as well in case we need it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for some kind of big attack down here. And of course there is the warp ability on the Pandreo as well. How many charges? I've got 3 charges on him. Anyway, let's start killing stuff then. Let's say somebody is here. In this location, you would have to deal with an axe coming in. So I think it should actually be Louis who will be given a second move from Seedall, and Louis would come in and hit. But then he would have to survive only 1 magic attacker, so he's fine, actually. Because at that point, it should just be the 1 magic attacker, as long as he's out of range of Meteor, which we will have to see. So let's unmark the bow first, just to see what the Meteor range is going to be. I think that is going to be a solution, actually, just to get Louis up front. Louis can hit this guy as well, but I don't know if we want to do that or if we want to let somebody else have a shot. Like Alchris, for instance, who is a little bit weak right now. Then Jean can probably come in here and yeah. The Flashing Fist has a pretty low hit, in fact. The hit rates in general are not good here against the Fist guy. But then that's because he's in the woods, and yeah, nobody can come here to follow up and defend him, though, which is kind of important. So that means that using Flashing Fist here might be a good idea. We should be able to live against that. Because you'd be taking out this guy, presumably. Yeah, this one's still alive, but then we're pretty well defended. So I think we are going to go for this. Let's go Flashing Fist and just take this guy out. 67% though, I don't like it. I feel like he's going to whiff one. Is really low. Might need to get a support in there if we can get one within range. Anyway, let's just fight. Marin has an okay hit. Yeah, we'll get some of the back line leveled up.
That was cool, was it not?
And his follow-up, of course, is, as usual, very useful. In fact, that's a good reason to get Anna within range as quickly as possible. And get her to whack somebody. No, we wanted Alkris there, though. And what does this hit? Yeah, no, that's fine. Oh no, that's Fagato. We don't want Fagato there. We want Fagato on the left. And we'll go Silver Bow here.
I had no choice but to win.
I want to see if I can get Anna within backup range over here, because then she would be, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. I don't know if Anna's backup range still works if she has already moved that turn. That's something that is a bit of an unknown. And we'll switch her to the axe, of course. It does leave her a bit vulnerable if the Flashing Fist is going to come out, but we can always pull her out some other way. Or put other units in front of her, so I think we're okay. Let's do that. That then lets me get Jean over here. I feel like this will probably not get a kill just because of the low hit rate, but we'll try it. Oh no, he's going to get it.
Something that I can't afford to lose.
Something that you can't afford to lose, that's right. Seedall can go over here. Will he be hit by something if he does? No, he will not. So... And yeah, we don't even need to worry about... Well, the healer will be taken up by Fagato. That's going to be fine. Let's make sure we can get Louis over there. 56 attack against this. It might... It probably won't kill, but it'll push that guy back. Should have thought about pushing Ivy over one spot, in fact, just to make that happen. Let's see. So the whole idea is that I want this guy to be out of range of hitting Fagato, and that's fine, because we push him back one spot, that will actually do the job, so we just need to Great Lance him. And put Seedall in here, because he will live. Yeah. Okay. So even if it's just a push is perfectly fine. Yeah, not gonna kill him, but it'll still do a fair bit. And we'll have a magic attacker trying to nuke Louis, but he'll probably live. That means we only have one attacker coming in against Vigato as well.
I'm sorry.
Okay, that's down. Then we'll get the rest of the crew up here. Get them in a position. Now, we can always try for another sniper Chloe, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. She's not going to be within range just yet. Next turn. Byleth. Let's see. I didn't really account for this wall over here that's defending this location. But let's just get everybody within range of usefulness. Yeah, because we can probably hit some things over the wall. We're just going to blast through this area, yeah. Where should we stand? Here's good. Then Chloe up here, and then we'll just do a quick check with her. Not going to use the bow yet, but
Engage!
nice to have so many refresh points here so we can perhaps start picking off Sigurd's companions from afar. Even if we just delay for a few turns at a time. And yeah, we're not in meteor range yet, so we don't need to worry about that, but yeah, I should save this ability for more useful circumstances. Lots of thunder users, but yeah, the flashing fist here has a fairly low attack, so we just need to be careful about who we send up against that. And there's the bow here, of course. But yeah, definitely safety ability for the bosses then, so we'll cancel out of the engage, and we'll send her over here also. Yeah, long ways from doing anything up there yet, so we'll stay on this. Let's see how this turn goes. That was way too risky with Jean in the previous turn, even if it did pay off handsomely by nuking so many units at once. Good miss there, although unfortunately the mage is in the woods, so we might have some trouble countering. But here we are. Yeah, we don't want to pull these guys yet until we get the whole team over so we can potentially mob them in one turn. Because I feel like with 1 to 2 range, this is going to be such a problem because they're going to be completely immune to magic just because of the defensive numbers. And longbows will not do much. You basically need some massive attacks from crit weapons and enough in terms of offensive abilities that you take them out with engage abilities, I think. If you take them out with engage abilities, then you can do so without taking a counterattack, which is the most important thing here. So yeah, that would be the whole strategy. And I feel like if you pull one of them over, you're likely to pull the other one as well. So you might need to do some kind of obstruction play, or at the very least use Chloe's ability to drop some initial obstructions. Anyway, let's see what we can do with these guys. There's going to be a mage here, so yeah. These two will not be within range, but this Elf Thunder will try to attack in, which means that if I am here, I can switch to Longbow, in fact, and try to draw this guy out. And that might be a good idea, especially with Longbow giving me, what, speed? 25. It's a good idea, actually. Just park him here, switch to longbow, pull him out, and hopefully not pull the whole cluster. If we do pull a whole cluster, we would be in big trouble. Anyway. Longbow into this guy, 16. We can try it. We can also try this guy, 78. In some sense, I'd rather do that. But it depends on what our other options are. In terms of units being useful. Because, yeah, Louis can basically just stand here and hit this himself. The hit rate is 100%, so yeah, that'll, except the hit rate, we'll want Silver Lance on that, so we strike first. 80% on that, not as good. Not as good at all, in fact. But, okay, so this guy would be within range of 3 attack against this spot here. It's going to be 34 speed 10. Yeah, that's fine. Longbow here will do fine as well. We therefore want to be on longbow. Wait, is adaptable available all the time or not? No, only when engaged. Okay, so we will want longbow here despite the 2 range. Looks like he'll probably miss. No then, let's not do that. Let's stay here. Let's do silver bow.
I can't believe I did that.
Yeah, I can't believe it either. Shock and surprise. And then, yeah, magic attack here is something we need to be aware of, because 34 attack against Louis is kind of bad. But if we go javelin here, or spear rather, that would still kill. Let's keep that in mind. And then, yeah, we just need somebody who has high magic resistance to play against the meteor over here. And if we keep John in the woods, I think that will be partly helpful, except mystical ignores that. Okay, so yeah, so attacking against mystical, the woods won't help you. But what if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? What about Astra?
It's just like my
We might not want to use it this turn until we know whether the left side gets pulled. Doesn't quite kill. Gets most of the way there. I think maybe if we have an adjacency. That might come close to doing it. Adjacency bonus with Avatar. Maybe. Regardless, yeah, you're going to have under here, you're going to have resistance 29. I'll be good. It's going to hit hard, but meteor is not fast. And it may very well miss. In fact, if I come over here, since this ignores avoidance anyway, if we come over here, then we can start dragging some attackers out. This guy doesn't move. And this guy doesn't move. He's just going to stay on Thunder. So, since none of these move, we may as well just attack in. See what happens. It would actually mean I should come into this position so we don't have to deal with this guy until we're ready. In fact, we could just get in there and not fight against a bow. That would be bad. But 3 range attack from Ivy would be able to stay out of bow range. The issue with that is that it's magic versus magic. I don't think she would probably not kill, right? Like if we go Thoron, it does well, but not well enough. However, we can always swap with Louis if she is in a bad position. But then Louis would get pummeled by... not magic necessarily if we kill this guy. Louis just goes up here and goes spear. And he's going to do reasonably. I mean, this is going to be a silver bow that won't do anything. These guys won't touch anything. That might be the best idea as long as we know how to deal with this one down here, which we don't just yet. Well, with Seedall, of course, we can have a double attacker somewhere. So, for example, let's take a look at this guy's range again. Yeah. For example, if we go longbow over here, that doesn't quite kill, and it's also 55% hit, not good. 70% hit is a little bit better, but knocks him down a bit. But if we have Seedall come over here and support Louis after one attack, and then Louis can come back up over here and hit the other one. I think 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we could do it. That way we can go for some kind of high hit. And hopefully one that does not take damage right away. 80%? I'd rather do that than guarantee, well, 68%. We need to guarantee to hit, I think. If he takes damage, he takes damage. Big deal. Except this is within Meteor range. Meteor would drop 46 on him. 46 over 12, that would be 34 damage. So that's the reason we didn't want Louis to come up here, because we would have to deal with Meteor whacking him. But if he's able to come to this location and still do reasonably well, we can always just heal him up, right? It's not a big deal. Heal up with Jean even. Yeah, let's do it. But basically, he would be down to 31, and he would take a lot of damage from Meteor if he walks in. Anyway, he's going to hit. He's not going to take damage, so that is fine. Then I think we get Seedall in here. And he's going to dance. Like his life depended on it. Yeah, this guy has pretty long range. We just stay out of range of the other ones. We'll drag him over here. Hit with a longbow. So yeah. Louis is going to get within Meteor range, but it'll draw in the silver bow, which will do nothing against him. And that should be fine. So the idea will be to hit this before Thunder becomes an issue. Yeah, we'll go very cautiously against these guys, so even if they do get pulled out, we don't have to fight them right away. So yeah, Thunder guy is going to be here. We can burn down to anything we like, basically. In fact, we can probably just take our pick of who's going to fight. Maybe get the dagger over here with Marin. Kind of like that idea. Let's do it. Dagger is just going to kill. So we're fine.
That's how a knight does it.
Okay, next. Yeah, we have some kind of staff user who's going to drop something on me. What is it? Fracture is the only thing that we really need to potentially worry about, perhaps. Because it means that he won't be able to counter. So, for example, if you have Fracture Staff on Louis, then the bow comes in, then basically the only thing that changes is that the bow stays alive. The main thing is that he's going to be hit really hard by Meteor in the following turn, and we'll just have to deal with it. But I think we'll be fine. Where's Seedall? Seedall's here. We want Seedall to be able to double up on somebody's attack in the next turn. So, for example, if we have a 3-range attacker over here, like with a longbow or something, then Seedall is able to get somebody to attack twice. But yeah, let's pull that cluster first, and then deal with the bottom left when we have fewer distractions. So this guy's going to come in. It's got 3 range here, but then the additional range is for the freeze stab. Ah, freeze stab. That's what's going on. So, longbow. And then let's go over here. Then yeah, we can get people within staff range, but maybe not meteor range unless we can really take it. I feel like Meteor is going to prioritize this juicy little target here, regardless. So maybe it doesn't matter too much as long as I send strong magic attackers into the area. So the idea would be, for instance, that we send Jean. Do we want to use a staff to heal anybody up? No need. Oh yes, this turn we can... yeah, we know that Astra can take this out for about 30. We know that... Let's see what the 10 range is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we need to get Chloe around there to really do much with her. I have to test out whether she can actually chip one of these guys down. That's 20 against him though, so it's going to be the same idea. We'll do about 30 damage. And that'll be it. Interestingly enough... No, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Not quite within range to engage the top section yet either. But we'll get within staff range and see what happens. Yeah, maybe take her down over here. And everybody's magical over here, so no point in taking Citrin down there. She should come up. And then Ivy can come over here. It should be out of range of anything too interesting. In fact, Dragon Vein might be a good idea because then I think it only heals at the end of this turn, but well, let's see where that drops. I'll actually drop it here to heal up on either side. It seems inordinately powerful, but many of those abilities do. And we'll get Lynn down here. And who's left? Jean and Ike? Yeah, we'll send Jean up here so he can prepare to attack next turn. Should be fine. We'll see. Yeah, perfectly fine. We draw him in. Let's see if it draws the longbow, and hopefully it doesn't attract attention from the rest of the gang. Meteor, as expected. We'll just have to heal him up. In fact, he's going to get a fairly sizable heal because Dragon Vein applies at the beginning of your turn, which is very useful. It means we can use it defensively quite well, in fact. Anyway, let's see what our attackers are going to do in this position here. There's a chain guard behind that. We'll need to take that out. The chain guard is very inconveniently positioned on the other side, so we'll have to remove that somehow. Thunder with Ivy would actually work, because she's got 24. And yeah, speed wouldn't quite do it, but she'll be okay, I think. As long as she... Yeah, problem with Thunder, of course, is that she'll be vulnerable to this kind of quad attack from this guy. Physical attack 27 against 17. Should take like 40 damage from that if she stays in this position here. She just needs to tap, basically, though. And that would do it. I think that probably is to move. Maybe stay out of range of one of these. Because the magic attack would in fact hit her pretty hard, so... in fact, Meteor would also hit her hard, so we would need to finish off the Chain Guarder somehow after that. Where is my Chloe? Out of position, actually. She should have finished the last turn a little higher up, so she could do something useful here. Alternatively, you can use... Where's Pendreo? Pendreo can maybe transport somebody, warp them over to the other side, and then they can get a finisher off of that. Yeah, because right now this guy's the biggest problem. Flashing Fist. We'll have to figure it out. Citrina's not getting any closer. She's pretty much just got to do things this way. Elfire, in fact, would nuke that right away. That's good, because then you can get in and start attacking with other things. Also, so none of these move, right? They don't. Okay, good. This is definitely Citrina then. Can't imagine it's going to be anybody else.
Please forgive me.
And yeah, the main thing is that we just need to... See, I bet I could take this guy out completely with physical attacks if we do this well. For example, you can even use Warp against Seedall to transport him up a spot. We can also use Byleth's power to get attackers to double up again. There are a couple of options that we will have here, I think. Marin will do 20 with the dagger once you take out the Chain Guard, and Meteor will mean that that unit is unable to counter. Likewise, Flashing Fist will just straight up break the Chain Guard. So we can just do that, I mean, because then we just need enough damage to kill that once. Which I think we can do, because Ivy would be able to do potentially a 7 and 7 because Meteor is so slow. And we can get enough damage up there. Possibly by having to warp somebody in. And we're fine. So we don't even need to take care of the chain guard just yet if we just send in John now. Or do some kind of combo with Seedall plus Byleth to create a second attack up here. Yeah, too bad we got Chloe out of position here. That would have helped to have her still in the mix. But it looks very much like we don't necessarily need to worry about breaking the chain guard. As long as we get Jean in here just to kill immediately. Yeah, in fact, if we just send Seedall up there with a warp, Jean attacks immediately again, and then he's done. I don't want to use Byleth's double power just yet. Doesn't quite solve the problem of how to kill this one off, this flashing fist over there, but if we basically just kill this one and... Actually, Flashing Fist doesn't even move, right? If he's not going to move, then we can attack into him just fine with Ivy and Corin. Some thunder going. Anyway, we can do it. Why have I marked so many spots here? Let's unmark Meteor since we're going to kill that guy anyway. And the bow. So we just have this marked for reference. Yeah, because then Marin can come in over here as well. Well, yeah, let's just break the guard now. I think that's the best way to do it.
Better to act
Here we go.
than to worry.
In fact, Chain Guard will also do 8 damage to the unit maintaining the guard, which is fine, because that means that we can potentially get in there and nuke it. Thoron is going to be 3 damage short, fortunately, but there are ways to make that work. Marin is also still available to do a push on a unit, potentially. Yeah, she can do 10 and 10. Then Olganon over here would be 7 and 7 for 14. Not the best hit rate, of course. Let's see what we can do. Now, Seedall could also double up on Fagato, and Fagato could come in here and hit pretty hard. But then, yeah, that doesn't solve the immediate problem of burning out that guy. I think Seedall has to go up. We'll just have to leave the fists alive for one turn. And yeah. Yeah, let's try to power up Alchrist. Alchrist would totally die to Meteor, probably. That's okay. This will be a kill.
I'm still alive? Huh.
Might even want to bring the whole cluster down here to pull these guys, but I'm out of position right now. We want units like Jean down there before we do anything too reckless. And Louis will not be helpful here because of the magic attack being crazy. Absolutely crazy. Pentreo would actually be a useful tank against that because he's got enough speed and he's got 33. Resistance means that he would take about 31 damage off of the Bolganon. But then at least it would get this guy into position to nuke him afterwards. Problem is that you'd have to pull them out at once. Basically, Pendrao does have speed to defend here and potentially attack in. So anyway, he's going to go over here. He's going to warp seed all over. And that's going to completely fail because Seedall isn't going to go far enough. Or is he? Yes, he is, because he can just go up here and go 1, 2, 3, 4. And reactivate Jean. Jean's going to get the kill. And that will be fine. I don't know if there's a better way to do it. There might be. Always look for the better way. Okay, so let's see here. Yeah, Pendreo on Seedall. Warp him up here. And then dance over here. And we'll continue to guard this position. In fact, if Jean and Ike go down one spot, no, they'll just stay here. They'll just stay here. And it'll be flashing fists all the way down. Get this guy down immediately.
There's something that I can't afford to lose.
Does the bridge go down immediately?
Fortress General's dead. The bridge is ours.
I think I'd probably have to step on it and activate it. Do we want Louis down here? No, Louis will die to all of this stuff, so... but then there's no point in taking him up either. We'll just maybe finish this guy off with something else. We'll come up here with Ivy to go Thoron against a fist. Again, if I can find some way to give her just 3 additional points of damage, that would be ideal. I can activate Byleth, of course, and buff her up, but I don't really know if there's a good reason to do that. Because I feel like I can probably do better than that. Anyway. Legato can come over here. Put him back in silver for the time being. He can attack in next turn. Chloe and Lynn can test out Astra just to see how our damage is going to go against those two. Not great. But you would want to bring in really high damage in that location, basically, and just try to gang up on them as much as possible, which is actually a good reason to bring Louis down, because even if he can't defend against anything, if he's able to finish one of them off with a big physical attack, that would still be decently useful.
Whatever you require.
So we can go Spear against this, for instance, unless we want to level somebody else, which we may. Yeah, like maybe bring in Marin down here. She's just level 10. Where's my level 11? Yeah, that's probably good.
Ooh, I just spotted a rare bug.
In fact, that would allow me to perhaps run Louis over faster using a swap. This guy's got no movement currently, but if we tap him, I don't know if that'll remain the case, so we'll do it. And, oh, you know what? Grasping Void. Okay, that solves it. Didn't even remember to calculate that. Amazing how well those skills can kick in from time to time. What was it? Grasping Void down here during combat with a foe who was also units... no, that's not it. Right, so we had a certain chance. What is her dexterity? 20% chance of doing a little extra on the side, which works for me. Do we have any heals available for Louis? Not really. Yeah, but we can kind of swap for Alchris to move up further. And probably move into this position. Yeah, we'll want everybody in position before we do some kind of big attack. Just to be safe. Oh, the bridge is going to just do its own thing. Alright. I don't know Sigurd's going to run right away. Whoa, okay. That's a lot. That is a lot. Wow. That is a lot more than I expected. Well, we're nowhere near defending the choke point, so... okay, so these guys are all very weak to magic, at least. Because he's got a front line that's just tons of armor. That is so much stuff. That's a crazy amount of stuff. That's like... What is that? 18 units just jumping the map on me. It's like a Lynn's map all over again. Except... yeah, we'll just need to refresh some of the powers, especially if Jean's has expired. We'll definitely want to get Jean to step on something in order to get him to get Ether ready again. Because that will make a big difference, and we'll get the magic attackers up there as well. So I think we do not mess with these guys right now until we know what's going to come down. It's going to be mages across the board here. We can deal with that. How much tech? 34. And then how much does she do? Surprising amount for mage versus mage. Actually not bad. Also, how much does somebody like Vigato do? Just to experiment here. Not much and he would get killed, so let's not mess with that corner yet. That is not something we are ready to do. So the question is, does Sean step behind, or... He doesn't have a range attack. We want somebody with a range attack to stand there and land some hits, perhaps. Also, of course, if somebody can get up there and hit, Seedall is able to get up there. But we basically want to draw these out, I think. We can maybe do something about these guys if we think about it for a moment. Yeah, Pendrayo can step in here and draw these guys in. And if we use pretty much all of the engage abilities at once, maybe we're able to do something on the next turn. It's so hard to attack into this guy at all, though. We need to break it, in fact. Oh, that would be the way to do it. Is that we can break it using fists. If we break these using fists, then we can burn them down immediately over the course of a single turn without worrying about the counter. And we use Byleth's power in the interim to do that. So I think we do that, in fact. We will mob them this turn, if we can. Pandreo's got to set the bait. And he might even want to chain guard out of that. In fact, I think we would have to. And maybe Citrin, with the resilience 30, can just stand on this spot and take out these guys. Resilience 24 on that. How much should we do? What's the speed here? 15, 15. Ivy might be able to do it as well, but I think Ivy we want to have her available for the attacks down here. We want everybody available, actually. We need to find a good position here to get as many attackers in as we can. How much can Pandreo sustain? That's the thing. If he can only sustain one attack, then we must go here. We can't mess with these guys, basically. Yeah, let's reverse the range check. Because Pandreo has got 42 hit points here, 33 resilience. He will not get doubled, at least. He'd take 22 from this guy and 31 from the other guy. So he can only really take one unless we chain guard him, which we can. Because you have to go over here. Both of these guys attack in. You'd have Jean up here, potentially. Hopefully you don't get rushed by these two right away. Might want to do the double power on Chloe right away as well, in fact. So we can draw these guys in and give them alternative targets. And then power her up before we deal with everything up here. I think we are going to take these out then. Okay, we have a plan. We will not have Ether available on Jean, but we're not going to be using it, so that's okay. The idea is that Jean will come down. We'll use Seedall to get him to double, and then he can run down here. And probably chain guard Pandreo. Unless we have somebody else who can chain guard. No. Yep. Chain guard Pandreo. Pandreo stands here. Two attackers come in. You break them both, basically. Because Pandreo's standing here and breaking just one guy will not do it because we get within range of the other one in order to kill it. Yeah, because he'd stand all the way here and it would be a problem. Okay, so Pandreo stands here. We try to max out his speed, maybe? No. This is a 3-range attack. This is a 2-range attack. Yeah. And he wouldn't make a dent against either of these guys. Because magic attack just won't work against that. So we will go here. Next thing we'll do is put some additional defense on it. Where is my avatar? Way back here. Yeah, we'll bunch up a bunch of my guys. Louis will kind of keep in the back. Like maybe keep him over here. Always do some swamps. Yeah, and then Lucina we can keep back here. Check terrain here. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I like that on her, actually. Because she'll be within movement range for the follow-ups. And we'll wait over here. And moreover, she can do all for one, which might burn something down quickly. We absolutely need Violet up there to create some kind of huge combination. Jean comes down here. We'll leave this spot open. Means Alchris will move down here. Yeah, Louis. Let's think about that. Let's also switch off Thoron just for the time being. I actually want her to drop a Dragon Vein, I think. Because once there's an attack on Pendreo, you can also heal out of that. So we'll put Fagato up here. We'll put Ivy down here. Dragon Vein over here. Slight heal on Louis. Jean.
Understood.
Yeah, we'll go Louis over here. Jean down here. And yeah, that's fine. We'll leave them as is. Seedall over here. John goes down here to Chain Guard. And he can do that because he's at full health. I really should have checked that ahead of time. Violet over here. Marin with the dagger might be useful against somebody. But yeah, using Jean for fists to break both opponents, I think, is going to be the approach. And if we can get both Jean and Seedall to be in an advantageous position, then Violet's power can get everybody to double up. Marin down here. Citrin. I don't want to bait those guys in just yet. If they come down, they come down, but I don't want to force them down. Not ready for it yet. Chloe and Lynn. Can probably hit one now just to prepare the first attack. And probably hit the bigger one. And then you can lock them in with the pair up in the next turn, or rather the clones in the next turn. But we don't want to drop the clones just yet, because that might just obstruct my attacks next turn. So. Although if we drop the clones now, then she can get some massive series of follow-up attacks the next turn instead. And it might also spare Pendreo a little bit of pain. But she doesn't really have a good position to be doing that in right now. I should have left one of these positions open, in fact, just to get her to do that. Let's see. Unless I just... Yeah, we don't want to bait in too many attackers just yet, so let's actually go engage.
It's just like my fairy tales.
And let's hit. It's decently, in fact. Oh, you know what? What am I standing next to? That gave me so much damage. I'm standing next to Ivy. I don't know if that gave me a particular buff. Let me see. Male and female ally are adjacent within 2 spaces. That actually is significant. Because if I go here, then I get the adjacency buff off of my avatar. And that should take me up even higher. Okay, that still doesn't do quite enough damage, but it's still significant enough that you never know when you might need those 3 points of damage. So I think I'll just do it. But yeah, using the adjacency on her is going to be good, unless, since that doesn't hit the lower one, let's check that again just to see how much that does. Yeah, no, we definitely want to hit the top guy, because if the top guy attacks in against Pendreo, Pendreo could actually do nothing with his counterattack, but perhaps there will be a possibility of some kind of backup attack that will solve some of this for me. So we're going to drop this attack on this guy right away.
As if I'd lose.
That'll perhaps save me a little bit of grief. She's going to feed herself. Now let's see what happens. I hope this works. Oh, Sigurd's going to run. That's bad news. That's really bad news. We are not ready for this yet. Okay, Chain Guard works exactly as expected. And yeah, that's what I thought would happen. Dealing with these guys up top is an issue right now, but we'll have to deal with it possibly by just blocking them off using Chloe. Let's figure out the order of attacks here. Jean will obviously not get the first attack here because we don't need to break just yet. Also notice 70% hit. That does not look good. But against this guy, break is good. The problem mainly is that it's not doing quite enough damage. We need to stand next to do that. Let's figure out first of all then who is going to maybe do a little bit of tap damage. Like Silver Dagger, 10 damage, ooh, 85%. That is ugly. Can we get 100% hit? Yes, on Patch Cats. That might be the better idea. Let's see what our various attacks will do here. Not that much. We'll get hit pretty hard. But basically we want to set up some kind of quadrant that will allow me to reactivate everybody. Let's see. A 3-range attack would also work against this guy, so you know, if you take Alcris, for instance, the longbow, it's 10 damage. Is not great, but if it hits, then you're in very good shape all of a sudden. Likewise with this. In fact, we don't even need to, if we get a high hit percentage, we don't need to be so skittish about range. Let's just test what the attacks will do, just so we know. It's going to be 28 once we break it, obviously. 31, potentially. I'm not too worried about having enough damage to do it. It's just that we will have to take out these guys after the fact. And on Lucina, of course, we'll have the benefit of the killer weapons once you get a break. I think this tiny little attack with Marin is probably the best idea. Yeah, because unless you can get a really high percentage hit here, look at that, 106 damage coming in if you miss. How much does he do against the other guy? Not great. How much does he do against these guys up here? It's much better. So we might actually, in fact, if we engage... What's his engaged weapon? It's Killer Axe, right? Let's take a look at this. You might be able to do something useful. So yeah, no, it's going to be a tap attack with Marin over here, Patch Cats. I don't know if we'll be able to reactivate her, but it's not going to be a priority. The whole idea is to get 100% hit. And this will do it.
I'm in your debt.
And we need to break both opponents using Jean. And that will be with Seedall getting him to double up. So, Flashing Fist, it will... I mean, you need one of those hits to land. You can't miss both of the 70% hits or he just dies. The other thing to do potentially is a Fracture Staff to get the break on him, but I think we just need to attack in and hope for the best. The other thing we could do is attack the other side first, because then we can get... Attack the other guy first, because then we can basically guarantee to hit, and then get a stat buff off of the reactivation from Pilot. I don't know if I like that yet, because this guy's maybe slightly easier to take down. I did about a defense 20. It's going to be ugly either way. Really, really ugly either way. We just need to think about our positioning here in terms of who's going to be reactivated where. Because let's say we have a quadrant over here, where one person is a 3-range attacker against the Thoron. So for example, if we have... We got a... Oh, no, you can't do 3-range against Thoron. He'll just hit back. So for Great Lance, we'll push it. We need to be aware of the fact that it will push. And also it'll take damage first. Which means we should break the guy before we do that. Where's Seedall? Seedall can only come here. Oh, Seedall's range is not even that good. Seedall can only walk over here, which means the first attack actually has to be against this one. Although, of course, Violet will be one of the units coming in as well. Oh, you know what? Pandreo has fists. Pandreo has fists. But he will do no damage, so I think that does not break because he does no damage. And Violet, for that matter, will have fists, right? But he will also do 0 damage, which means that will not break. But can he break the other guy? Which will then allow... yeah, you would need to get Seedall in a position, though, to reuse him. Where's my fists? Nope, that's 0. None of that is useful then. He's just going to double up. Maybe create a stat buff. Like if I use Byleth to create a stat buff on our entire cluster first, and then use Seedall on Byleth, then you would only get 2 attacks off of Jean. We probably need more than that. No, I don't think that works. But then you would basically be able to reactivate Seedall as well. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know if I like that. Because, yeah, basically you would have one buff and then one cluster. Let's see if I can make sense of this. Because basically you could buff most of your party with... let's take a
Lend
look.
me your strength.
With Instruct, I'd have to catch more than that, obviously. I'm trying to catch as many units as possible with the Instruct. And then that would potentially allow you to burn this down immediately, because you would have a bit of a damage buff that allows you to just straight up kill, and then that would save you a little bit of damage. So basically you would have Jean and Ike in that position. Seedall and then refresh... I don't know if this works. Seedall can then refresh my avatar. Then my avatar does Goddess Dance. And if it's adjacent to Seedall in the same position, then you would get the 2 additional attacks off of Jean. If you reactivate both Jean and Seedall at the same time. So we need to think about how the position is going to work, because Jean will have to finish here. Jean will hit. Unless, of course, Jean hits this first. Where can Seedall go, first of all? Seedall can go as far as this position here. Which means that if I come here and activate like this, do Instruct. It's not too helpful, perhaps. But if I do Instruct in this location, Jean can come down and kill immediately. Probably want Louis to get caught up in that, though. Alright, let's say I do an Instruct in this position. No, we need Jean to finish here. Instruct here, which doesn't... is going to create a contradiction, basically. Instruct here. See, it all doubles. No, doesn't work. It all comes here. Basically, you need Seedall, Avatar, Jean. Avatar comes here. Activates as much as we can. Jean attacks. Seedall comes here. Activates. Then we have a quad. Whoever's standing in these 4 positions will then attack in. This barely does anything. It's not going to be that. Then whoever does a ranged attack from this position . The fact is that we still need to break 2, right? So let's see about this. But if Jean gets 2 attacks after having been buffed up, he'll be able to kill both. If he gets a 3rd attack, he'll be able to kill this 1 additional time. I should seriously consider a silent staff, in fact, just to lock this guy down even further. That may be something that we end up having to do, is silent staff against him. In fact, Pandreo... if I can get silence off my convoy... Now, the problem is that he would commit to this position, then... 5... . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . Actually, Pendreo sitting in a back position over here would potentially be able to heal up, right? Let's see what he can do. This is a hard turn. Hellfire. I mean, he's just not going to do much as an attacker. I think we should mostly think about him as somebody who's potentially healing up or doing something to that effect. Because basically, you'd be able to take out 3 bars using John. And then we need to just come in here and mob them with everything I've got. But yeah, magic attacks will just not work against these guys, so what we should do instead... also, Ivy, though, we might actually want her to do a magic attack anyway, the reason for that being... as long as she doesn't get completely killed. The reason for that being that she would be able to lower the stats on one of these units pretty significantly. So we have... Yeah, we need to move Pendreo out of the way. So we need to figure out where Pendreo goes. Then maybe Ivy, actually, either does this or does a Dragon Vein first to make sure that I have a pretty healthy safe zone, because then... In fact, we can just try this. It's going to be 50%. I feel like it's going to miss. Very likely going to miss. And Pendreo can come here. She did have a silent staff. No, we then want Louis to come here after the buff. Actually, he should do this right now with the spear, because then Pendreo can heal him up immediately, and then Louis would be reactivated, which is good because we actually do want him to attack twice, since he is going to be one of my top attackers. So. He is going to hit decently hard. Moreover, if Louis engages...
Emblem, engage!
Twin Strike is potentially actually useful. Twin Strike is good, in fact. It's very good. Oh, it's very good. It will just kill. Unfortunately, you can only use it once, right? Because it's the ability, but if you break, then the Great Lance can do the second shot. Twin Strike could even do the first shot. Oh, I don't know about that then. Let's rethink this. We gotta rethink this then, because if Louis can do that... and break immediately. I think we might even just... because we want him to do that twice, except Twin Strike can only hit once. So we want Louis to attack twice, and we want one to be Twin Strike, and we want one to be Great Lance. We have to remember Great Lance pushes, so perhaps that should come second. But if he goes Twin Strike here, we should rethink everything then. Because he would have hit for 1 full bar. Is there a way I can reposition him? If he goes Great Lance here, let me take a look at this again. First of all, he just kind of dies. But... oh, he doesn't die. He'll push back by 1. But it'll clear out 1 bar of health. That changes the positioning quite a bit, in fact. Because then you can have Avatar here. Still think it's going to be the same kind of configuration. It's going to be Jean, Seedall. Probably Ivy over here. Yeah, that's the thing, is that Twin Strike is so good against this. We just figured out how to dislodge him afterwards. Let's see. No, because if you get Jean down here afterwards, then you attack into this position. Then you can still get Seedall to come down here. Andreo can also warp Seedall down, because then I think that gives you a lot more flexibility. Because then you could do this quadrant. You could basically do Louis, Jean. Avatar would be sitting here. Seedall would be in one of these two positions. And then you would have one additional attacker past that point. So possibly we'll do it that way. Actually, we'll do this dependent on whether Ivy and Corden can actually get a first hit. Because if they can, that simplifies things greatly. Like, very greatly, because I feel like they're not going to get this hit, but we'll try it. Because at the very least, even if she whiffs, there's going to be the stat debug. Oh, you know what? That works. That works great. Oh yeah, no, we're going to win this. This is going to be fine. Because then you can go down here. Flashing Fist will definitely break it. Even if you whiff one of the attacks. And then Louis will just get down here and kill. And then you can have 3 bars. That will be fine, actually. We'll have lots of flexibility here. Okay, we whiffed. But that's okay. I think we're still fine. We need somebody to do maybe a little bit of a weak attack against that, then. Longbow's okay. Whoops, wrong weapon here. Let's see the silver bow. Not much better. Let's try to longbow on him. 80%, still not great, but yeah, we'll need to figure out how to take out these guys too, of course. But we'll have some flexibility. Where it comes down here and hits, yeah, these 2 spaces need to be vacated. Seedall comes here, activates probably Louis. Let's see, 36 attack on this, 25 attack against speed 19. The good thing about Fagado is that he can double up on any of these guys, so we want to save Fagado for attacking into one of these 2 to take them out. Possibly even double them up. Which means we want Alchrist to be the one coming down here. Now we should have, once we kill this, enough room to take this out. Take out the Thoron. So Iron Bow looks like it's going to be the best hit chance here. We'll do it. Oh my goodness. Nope, gonna whiff. Well, that's unfortunate. Can Vandreo do anything once the stats have kind of been taken down? No. No, he won't do a thing. Well, that is very unfortunate. 2, no, that's not good enough either. I want to save Chloe and Lynn. No, we don't want Chloe yet. Actually, Chloe and Lynn and Fugato will take out these two, so those two are basically reserved. Anna looks like it's going to be the best choice here. In fact, we put Anna over here. We don't want to do that because we want Louis to be one of the top attackers. Like, Louis got to come down here. Unless, yeah, because we want to reactivate Jean for sure. And however, if you reactivate, let me think about the logic here. I think we'll just have to make do with not reactivating Anna, although that would be a shame given that she's a pretty big hitter. With the crit especially. I gotta see if Zitrin can actually take out one of these two. No. If Chloe and Louis take the top, then maybe one of the reactivated units here can do the job. Like if you go Javelin or something, for instance. That's okay. I feel like we can do much better, like with the 46 attack on one of the future passes. I mean, the priority is to kill it, right? So I think we just have to do it this way. Yeah, I feel like maybe we should have gotten ahead on that stat buff. Yeah, so Seedall comes here, probably reactivates. Wait, what does he reactivate? It's going to come down here. Probably reactivate the Great Lance. And then we reactivate everyone here. Which means we need somebody kind of standing here. Somebody who's going to do 3 attack, perhaps. Unless we don't reactivate Ivy and we go... We completely lost track of the original plan. That's the unfortunate thing. Because, of course, this would have done a fair bit. Only 50% though. Not great. If we get somebody like Fugato down here and reactivate him instead. Not quite. Because, like, basically Seedall comes here, he reactivates. Yeah, we basically try to hit at 3 range. Then we reactivate this cluster instead. And then reactivate Seedall. Maybe that works. Let's see if this works. This is a little difficult to calculate, but... whoops, longbow, please. Let's not whiff this time. I think this will work, actually.
How about that?
Okay, so we've got to burn him down twice. Seedall will come here and reactivate whoever's standing here. I may have messed this up. Okay, that's fine. Let's come down here with Louis. Let's do the moves that we know need to be made. Also, yeah, he doesn't stay broken, does he? I guess. Oh, because we never attacked in with. Yeah, no, this is a problem actually, that he does not remain broken once burnt down once. Which means we're going to go Twin Strike right now. We'll just have to improvise a bit because I did mess up this turn slightly. Do we need to Twin Strike? Let's take a look. Yes, we do. Because none of this will hit quite hard enough. But we can survive the Great Lance attack on the other guy, so... We'll go Twin Strike. That'll be 100%.
Now it's my turn. We have you all to thank for this.
Yeah, worst case scenario, we block off the incoming mages using Chloe's quad clones. Or use Pendreo plus Citrin to combine against one of them, which actually might be the best idea here, given that Pendreo just won't hit these guys. Oh, I like that a lot better, actually. Let's do it. Because you basically guarantee 18 against that. And then Citrin would be able to guarantee a good amount of damage against that. I like it. I like it. I will do it. Then you have to deal with all of these guys about to run in. Sigurd also has a massive range. We need to watch out for him. I was hoping to defend a choke point against him, and yeah, he's going to run all the way up here, which means we can't just stand there with just anybody. In fact, we'll probably want to back up here a bit so we can create a defensive cluster. Okay, so yeah, no, I know how we'll do this. Pendreo will go up here. We'll attack up. He won't take very much in return. Yeah, we did miss some pretty critical attacks early on, and that's part of the problem that we have run into. We'll go Elfire here. That'll kill.
I claim this victory.
Magic attackers are reasonably strong. So yeah, we still have option open of Chloe against this guy. But we'll see how the reactivation will work first. If we can get Anna to do something here. With the 46% crit, it actually has an okay chance of just knocking him down by one. Because there's no point just standing right here unless we really know what we're doing. If we get somebody who's a 3-range attacker up here, maybe that's interesting, but no, it's going to be Seedall coming in here to reactivate whoever stands here. So probably coming in here, buff everyone up in this quad. Unless we do a ranged attack? No. Because then you can do an attack here with like a javelin. Or a bow. The bow will in fact take him down completely, which is great. It'll take him down instantly. Because if Seedall comes here, then you just move her out of the way to do something else. Yeah, actually, that's the trick, is that Seedall reactivates. her instead, she moves out of the way, and potentially you can have your pick of reactivating Jean plus Louis plus Ivy, or Ivy, Louis... Actually, if you reactivate Seedall, then yeah, then you just reactivate Jean from there. Okay, no, we're good, we're good. This is actually going to be a great play. We are going to go with the bow. And it is going to nuke everything. 100%, yeah. We'll do it.
Come and get it!
A good wind.
Nice. Okay, that's one down. And then we just need 3 attacks against this guy, really, because we know how to burn him down quickly. We know Great Lance is going to kill him by 1. We know Jean's going to kill him by 1. We are in pretty good shape, in fact. Because we can reactivate this quad here, Louis, Ivy, Fagato. Now we could even try Anna right now, just to see if she'll get a kill, because I think she should be able to. 46% crit if you do it that way. 56% crit, but an imperfect hit if you do it that way. Let's see if we can bolster her supports at all. What does Brave Axe do for me here? Not enough. And of course the Engage can do all for 1, which I think I want to save it because I don't have that many refresh pots available and we need to do something good with Sigurd. But if we were to do it, let's take a look at how it looks.
This item is not for sale!
If you did all for 1, with the Falcon or the Rapier, neither of them would actually do it, so... yeah, we're going to try the Axe here. And then that'll potentially save me an attack. Let's try the Axe. She'll live regardless. It's just a matter of whether she gets a crit off one of these attacks. She just needs to 1. Here we go.
Come again!
Okay, good. We need 2 more hits. One will be the Great Lance, one will be Jean, probably. We could also use Chloe for 1. Regardless, this will be the play, so... In fact, what if we just attacked it? No, we don't want to do that because we will want to take the mage out, obviously. But... yeah, because you can just bring her out. Even drop some doubles, in fact. That might be a good idea, because then you would have Sigurd get baited in almost immediately. Problem is that you don't want Sigurd to be trapped in the woods. You want him somewhere in the open. Can't see his range at all. 13, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We want him to hit this spot here. That was his range. 1 range, 1 range. So you want to drop a double right here. Which you can't do. She's not going to be able to go far enough. That's okay. But you can get her up front, and if you get some doubles going, they'll only last until her turn is finished anyway, so... then you reactivate all of these. Louis, and then reactivating Seedall basically counts as an extra attacker, so it'll be reactivating Jean. Louis and Jean will take this out. And then Fagato will be able to take this guy out. That's if we want to risk that. We could potentially also just try to do things the easy way and drop the doubles next turn instead. Although dropping the doubles this turn might give me a huge attack against Sigurd next turn if he comes in. Because right now I don't really know what the hit rate on Fagato is going to be. And if we go here instead, reactivate Louis, Jean, maybe whoever's here. Nobody's there. Yeah, you know what? We'll just do this perhaps. I don't want to call it double in this location because it'll trap Sigurd up here if he's attacking into it. So no, we won't do that. We'll just attack. We'll try to do things the easy way. For once. Or even... Yeah, no, the right thing to do is to use Chloe to try to guarantee the kill right now. And she'll do very well against this. I think. It is a little dependent on chain attack, but we don't want to take chances. Let's do it this way.
I can't retreat now.
One of the problems that we'll run into here is that by expending Byleth's power now, we won't be able to do the big team attack against Sigurd, but I think that's okay. I think it's okay. And it also depends on the AI, because if Sigurd doesn't come down until everybody else rushes down, then we might be in a bit of trouble. But I think these extra units are mostly there just to add time pressure, where the objective, just defeat Sigurd, right? Yeah, is to burn Sigurd down before everybody mobs you. And so the idea is for him to attack in first, I think. We can kind of set up a defensive line back here to do that and bait him in while delaying everybody who's going to come in from up top. So, we'll do it this way. We will engage. We'll then do the goddess dance. Wait, do we need to? Yes, because without engage I won't be able to burn this down. Okay, engage. We'll then do goddess dance.
Let the lesson begin.
In fact, if we kill this guy immediately with Louis, then we don't even need to use Zedal on Jean. We can use him somebody else like Chloe, for instance, to... Where does she even go? Yeah, to maybe walk her up here and drop some doubles for me. Yeah, Great Lance, he's going to get hit first, but then at least a guarantee is a kill. Alternatively, you bring him up to this position. And then... yeah, Silver Bow over here, that isn't quite enough. Too bad. But if you combine that with Ivy, then that would do it, because she could just drop a Thoron. It's Thoron versus Thoron though, so she would get hit. Yeah, the whole purpose of using Jean in the first place was to try to get a break. But I'm just thinking about what the most efficient play is going to be. Like, what do you send Louis up here to take this guy out first? And then try to mob him. Then you'll have a slightly bruised Fagato and Ivy up here, but then you would have Louis in position to receive some kind of massive attack from Sigurd, which you will need to do at some point. Or we just heal up. Yeah, we can use Ivy to just heal up Louis this turn after taking the big attack. Yeah, let's just play it as safely as possible and try to guarantee kills. And this will be the only way to do it with the Great Lance. Let's just play it safe.
Why do we
Yeah, look at that. There's a bit of a self-heal on that too. He's still got plenty of turns left on Erica's power. Okay, so we can heal up here while Fugato gets up here, perhaps. Let's make sure we have a range marker on Sigurd up here, so we can get in position. Yeah, we don't want them too far up front. We want everybody to probably cluster in this defensive line if we can. Although it would be better to try to defend up here so we have access to the heal tile, as well as all of the refreshes. It doesn't matter too much. Let's just try to maximize hit rate. So it's going to be 100%. Can I burn him down faster than that? Not really. Yeah. Best we can do is 64% on the enemy hit. We'll just do it this way.
First one's free!
I'd rather be friends.
And then we'll use Seed All with Chloe to set up the defensive line up top. And Ivy can get heals down. Better to get Ivy up in an upper position, because then you can start doing some ranged attacks on Sigurd, potentially. Also, you need to be aware of Override. You cannot just... Oh yeah, that's the problem, is that... if I drop something within range of him, I can't do it in a position that allows him to do Override into Chloe, because that would hit really, really hard. Or can I? Because she's got 19 defense. Yeah, she'd get into some trouble with that. So I'm not really sure how much Override will do, but I'm gonna make some spendy Override. Let's check her positioning and see, because yeah, I mean, we can just drop the quad, you know, sort of in a position that's slightly askew, and then it won't bait him in this turn necessarily, but next turn possibly. We'll need to change something here. Let's get Seedall to activate her, and then we'll decide. Or we activate Louis and run him up? No. We'll activate Chloe. Worst case, we'll use Ivy to pull her out with a rescue staff. Yeah, you can't really even see what's going to hit, but the Override would need to hit her for 70-something damage. I don't think it's going to happen. I think she's going to be fine. The problem, of course, is... Yeah, and even if he does Override, that's good, because it baits him into this central position here, and I can start attacking in immediately. So I do want to do that, then. We'll go over here. And we'll go call doubles. Let's see if we can maximize avoidance with any of these weapons. I'm already maximizing avoidance. Okay, so let's call doubles. Override will do 17 against this. It will, of course, kill these two doubles immediately and cut through Chloe a little bit, but then if he overrides, then we'll pull Sigurd way out of position of everybody else who's coming in, and that's good, because that will mean I can attack in next turn. So, in that case, who should we prioritize healing up? Probably Fugato. Then although Louis, no, Louis, because he's got a great lance and he'll be attacking in. Although he'll have to self-heal as well, doesn't he? Let's see. Yeah, initiates combat, recovers 30%. Yeah, we should heal Fagato first then. Also gets Ivy up here in position. Oh, you know what? Dragon Bane would be good because then you would be able to heal Chloe out of the override attack as well. I kind of like that. Her up. Okay. That'll work. Let's see if he overrides in. He will. Totally will. And it'll do 24 damage against her. That's okay. That's survivable. And he's going to canter into the middle there because I pulled him way into my cluster. So it looks like we probably won't be able to farm experience off of all these guys coming in up top. But that's okay, because I feel like we probably should not be fighting this, and that the purpose of the map is to pull Sigurd out in the first place. That's a lot of experience with leaving on a table, but, you know, this is a game with a grindable world map anyway. I don't think it matters. And yeah, we trapped him down here, actually. That worked really well, because he couldn't even pull backwards. So now we just kill him. How do we kill him? He will be vulnerable to ranged attacks across the board. So we get in as many ranged attackers as we can. We just try to break him as well. He's breakable, given that he's on a lance, so we can send in an axe.
I refuse to cry.
And go Anna first. That will not break him. Oh, he's immune to something, isn't he? Is he immune to break? Immunity to freeze. Reduces damage from effectiveness. Well, anyway. So I can't break him with the axe. That's the short of it. Oh no, because this is a sword. That's not a lance. Okay, then we just send in a lance. That's an easy fix. We would need to get Louis probably refreshed, though, with Seedall in order to get her into position properly. Or we use Chloe, who will have the benefit of some doubles.
I'm getting hungry.
In fact, we go kill a lance. That's going to get the break, at least on this round. However, we should see if we prefer to ranged attack on him instead, which I think might still be better. It won't break him, but the break doesn't withstand breaking any of his HP bars anyway, so let's just mob him and just land a nuke. Also, let's see if we can maximize our buffs somehow. Legato, Pentreo, Citrin. Yeah, if we buff all three of them up, those are our ranged attackers. They might do something useful. Not really. Not really. They're not going to hit that hard. The best one over here is actually going to be Chloe. Ivy will be able to do something. Yeah, let's see how we can best instruct this crew. Seedall, of course, is able to reload somebody, and so we get Louis up here in this position. Then maybe we can do something useful, because then Louis would be refreshed and loaded up. Either that, or we buff up everybody down here. Then yeah, that'll do just about nothing. Wait, what about Silver? Just about nothing. Where's Marin is way out of range. Fagato probably have to go Radiant, I think. Except his magic resistance is pretty good. So no, he'd be going Silver. We'll see. I think we can probably just, at the very least, go for some kind of trap play. Or even... yeah, no. We'll need to go instruct for sure. The problem is Jean and Ike and Louis and everybody back here. I think maybe it's a better idea to get Pendreo to warp one of them over instead of Pendreo attacking himself. Given that Pendreo's not going to do very much. Yeah, I think he's actually going to warp Jean, maybe. Either Jean or Louis. Louis would, of course, have the benefit of breaking. He's got speed 22 over here. Jean with Flashing Fist is only 25, but could potentially be buffed up. Yeah, because maybe you buff all of these guys down here. We'll see. Or use the warp to place Jean in a position that allows him to be part of a cluster that I'll be improving. If that makes sense. Yeah, Louis will go up, and then Seedall will refresh, and then hit. So let's go Pendreo down here. Let's go warp. And then if I have Louis go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then yeah, we'll have a whole bunch that are in range. So let's go over here then, and we'll have a nice big instruct cluster happening. And we'll try to maximize its effectiveness. That'll be best.
Handle
because
with care.
basically go instruct here, maybe. Because Louis can go over here. Yeah, that's fine. We could even go over here, and then we have some adjacency bonuses on top of that. I think what we'll do is we'll dance, get Louis loaded up. Then we go over here. Instruct is going to cover all of that. We've got a couple of attackers that'll be buffed up. 4 attackers, in fact. And then we start testing out how the attack is going to look. So Jean is going to do straight up get a kill. Great. Louis, if I use him to use the Great Lance, I might actually be able to reposition the enemy and push him back by 1 spot, assuming he can be pushed. Yeah, you should be able to. If you push him by 1 spot, then you can get a couple of additional attackers in here as well, because Marin would be able to reach. Anna might be able to get in a good position. Got a couple of different options here. So yeah, Silver Lance, and that'll do 0 as well. So that'll. Oh, the problem is that you can't actually push him down because this is open water. That's fine. Flyers only. So no, you can't get him down in disposition from Marin, but that's too bad. Jean can just come down here and start attacking, though, because he'll get 1 kill. We should easily be able to do this. Unless there are any skill surprises I haven't considered. Okay. next, we'll go Louis. Problem with Louis is that he's actually going to, with the Great Lance, push too far. So we might not even want Great Lance. We might just want to go for the break instead. Because Silver Lance will take him down to 22, but then leave him in position for an additional attacker. However, Anna and Lucina, let's see here. Maybe do 12. With the crit, of course, at 50%, which is potentially quite good. Then you have the engage on this. No, not quite. A Citrin might be quite good here too. Yeah, because you'll do 21. So basically, if you do Silver Lance plus Citrin, that's going to be 1 bar. Then do we have another bar after that? Well, you stand here and on flyers only, then you'll actually have an additional damage buff, which will then allow me to take this down to 14. After that, if you bring in both the archers, that should actually finish them up. Because you'll have... yeah, you'll have plenty of damage coming in fact. So we're good. We're good. Yeah, so not Great Lance, we'll go Silver Lance. And it'll break, so that'll be great. And even heal up a little bit. So we'll go Citrin back here. Oh, how are my calculations off by 1? Oh, because I didn't even bother to add this properly, that's why. Okay. Well, that's alright, we'll just bring a bigger mage then. Let's do that instead. That's not bigger, okay. What about Thunder with the adjacency buff? That does it. That does it perfectly, in fact.
Now this outfit needs a wash.
Sigurd is actually so much easier to deal with after all of the trouble we had figuring out the previous enemies before him. And then 1 more bar will do it, and then we can collect a whole bunch of stuff too with the extra attackers we have available. We'll send in Anna first in case she gets to crit, I think. Even if she gets to crit, it's not going to be a whole lot of damage. So... in fact, let's just make sure we take Chloe down here. Unless, of course, we use Chloe to farm any experience up here. No, she can't reach, so... here we are. That will be the best attack by a pretty wide margin.
From me to you! Save one for the next one's mom!
Okay. And then, with 14 remaining, Anna might get it if she has to kill there. Alchrist would not. But we can leave him as somebody available in case Anna misses. And we can just have Marin collect something down here. We can just have him collect stuff, actually, and that'll probably be fine. Fagato would do how much? Fagato would do plenty. So we might want Fagato as the finisher here. Or Anna. Anna would be a good choice. Then, is there anything else we wanted to pick up? You know what? No, if we... I mean, we can grab these spots, but that's immaterial. Let's just grab that with Marin. A little bit of experience certainly wouldn't hurt. And yeah, we'll just grab this with Alchrist. Not much there. We'll take Anna up and see if she gets to crit. These are just doubles anyway. And then Ivy looks pretty extraneous here, but you know, if Anna somehow doesn't get a kill, then we'll take care of that accordingly. Yeah, we'll use her. Just in case we loot some of that extra gold. There we go. There's the crit. There's the victory. No time, unfortunately, to deal with the other 20 or 30 units up top, but we just never dealt with them in the first place.
Well done. You have passed the trial with a stunning display of skill.
I didn't do it alone. All of us claimed this victory together.
Correct. Friends, allies, family, anyone with whom you forge bonds will give you strength. Now, the moment of truth. Do you wish to avenge the death of your mother, Lumera?
Let's say yes. Sure.
When I lost her, I was sad and angry, but you asked me if I'd want revenge.
I lost many friends, even family. I know well the meaning of grief. As well, I know there is no single truth. I entrusted this knowledge to my son, Seliph.
Your son? You and Deirdre's, you mean?
Indeed. Now listen well. Knowing grief, justice, and truth are subjective.
Of course. This war will end.
A perfect answer, my friend. So, until the fighting is done and gone.
Anyway, there's Sigurd. Amazing power on him. I might pair him up with Jean again like we used to do. Not Jean, rather, with Louis again like we used to do. But I've also been considering putting him on Cedal, because then on Cedal you would have tons of movement to basically double up any character you like. And then you'd also have the counter ability to get him out of trouble and to pull him into a desirable position if we want to kind of combine him with Byleth's power like we were doing on this map. And I think it'll be very convenient. Now, I don't know if we will stay long enough to run a second map today. This will be probably our shortest Fire Emblem stream to date if we do stop at this point. But the thing is, if we try to tackle another map, that could take quite some time, so might play safely here and just to make this a short stream for today and take our time to do a lot of party reconfiguration off stream.
Yes.
And in the meantime, let's see what we can loot on this map. Because of course we have two power locks that activated at once. This was, in terms of level scaling, supposedly the easier one of the two, because it was tuned for a recommendation of Advanced Class 5, whereas it's going to be Advanced Class 8 on the power lock for Leaf, which we have not taken a look at yet. But because these power locks have consistently been taking me usually about 3 hours to complete, I think we will save it for the next session. I do want to get them done before we go on to Chapter 18 of the main story. And I do want to see anything like, what have we not talked to yet?
Hey!
I do want to see how we're doing for both supports and Sigurd's powers. Fagato and Pendreo, yeah, we can probably do that on the map. Not too many additional supports, but yeah, the thinking is probably Seedal with Sigurd. So we don't have to spend on the relevant things. His attack is not really going to be good enough to make much use of Override, but that's not the point. The point is to make use of Gallop to basically have unlimited movement on him very nearly when it comes to reaching the rest of my party and doubling up exactly the character that I want with the dance. And moreover, yeah, Canter and followed by Canter Plus is going to give him tons of flexibility after dancing, so we can always keep him in a safe position, as well as doing something else with him afterwards by, say, combining with Mindless power. So basically a lot of the attacking skills would be immaterial, but you know, this party, or rather this game is giving me a lot of maps that have a party of 12, and we know that there are going to be 12 rings at the end of it. And I don't know we'll have parties that are bigger than 12, but we should be thinking about one emblem ring per character in our main team and how that's going to line up. And since we are bringing Seedal into every map, we should think about which of the emblem rings is going to be most useful for him, even if he's dancing every turn. And Sigurd is almost certainly the answer, even though I loved running the Sigurd and Louis combo early on. We'll probably switch Erika and Ike again. I'm back to what we had before, but that will depend on the next map. At this map, of course, I mostly wanted Ike on Jeanne so we could get the massive ether attack on the mages to take them out early. I also assumed that would be heading north of the bridge and, you know, trying to block everybody in and fighting the mages at once, but so I was prepared to just have tons of magical damage coming in. That didn't wind up being the case, and we nearly lost Jeanne as well because I didn't calculate the backup attack having happened over and over and over and taken him down to 5 or 10 HP at the very beginning. So we nearly made a fatal mistake there, but that was the only one that was really concerning. Other than that, I think we will probably call it for now. And let's go back to the main map, assuming that I've picked up everything I can here. Yeah. Yeah, lots of skirmishes that we just haven't really been doing. And the next map we take a look at will be Bridges in a Row, which we will, I think, not do today, because I'd like to really take my time with it cautiously and also just take my time to play with my party configuration before we get into that. So I think at this point we will just call it for now and save it possibly for tomorrow or whenever it is we are next able to run. So with that in mind, that's all for Sigurd's chapter. Definitely might be fun to see if it is something that's doable on the top half of the map where you try to farm up as much experience as you can, but no, we got Sigurd kind of locked down in my own little cluster nice and early, and things happened the way they did, nice and efficiently. Really glad we got that bottom left cluster taken care of as well. So that's the accomplishment of the day, and that's it for the stream. So thanks for watching. Until we continue even more of Fire Emblem Engage and slowly plod through the plot as we work our way through what is now our second month with the game. We'll see you again soon enough, and we'll have more tactics, have more crazy plays, more calculation, more fun. Until then, however, have a great day ahead of you. Enjoy life in all its grandeur, and fare thee well.